Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi receives a rousing welcome in Amman on the first leg of a three-nation tour. India and Jordan strengthen diplomatic bonds with 75 years of friendship. US presses Ukraine on Donbass concessions as Berlin peace talks intensify. The EU tightens sanctions on Russia. Australia plans tougher gun laws after police say the father and son are killed 15 at Bondi Beach. And Hong Kong tycoon Jimmy Lai is convicted under security law. Britain condemns the conviction while his son appeals for more UK action. On the first leg of a three-nation visit to Jordan and also to Oman and Ethiopia, Prime Minister reached Amman, the capital of Jordan, on Monday. Prime Minister Modi was received by the Jordanian King, King Abdullah II Ibn al-Hussein, at the presidential palace in Amman. And this is the Prime Minister's first full-fledged bilateral visit to Jordan after 37 years. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Amman in a special gesture emblematic of the close ties between the two countries. On his arrival at the airport in Amman, the Prime Minister was warmly received by the Prime Minister of Jordan, Jafar Hassan, and accorded a ceremonial welcome. Along with the Jordanian Prime Minister, the Industrial Minister, the Mayor of Amman, the Governor of Amman, and the Director of the Metropolitan Security, they were also present at the airport. This is the first leg of a three-nation visit by the Prime Minister, and this is to Jordan first, then to Ethiopia and Oman. This full-fledged bilateral visit to Jordan is taking place after a span of 37 years, and it coincides with the 75th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived to a rousing welcome as well at the hotel in Jordan, and the Prime Minister was accorded a warm welcome upon his arrival at the hotel in Amman. The Indian diaspora there welcomed the Prime Minister. Jordan is home to a vibrant Indian community. The vibrant cultural diversity was also on display in Amman. The Prime Minister witnessed a special cultural performance. Members of the Indian community also were there to greet the Prime Minister. Let's go across and listen to Prime Minister as he's making his opening comment.
Because our countries will mark 75 years of diplomatic relations. And I believe that this visit reflects decades of friendship, mutual respect and productive cooperation between our two nations. Our nations enjoy a strong partnership and a shared desire to advance prosperity for our peoples. And over the years, our collaboration has expanded across multiple sectors. Your visit today provides an important opportunity to chart new paths of economic cooperation across industry, ICT, pharmaceuticals, agriculture, energy, and many more promising fields of mutual benefits for our people. And so these, I think, we could discuss more in depth during dinner. We warmly welcome the signing of the agreements and MOUs during your visit, as they will further advance our cooperation and open new avenues for collaboration. We also look forward to the Jordan-India Business Forum taking place tomorrow as an opportunity to discuss business-to-business partnerships and the potential for joint investments in vital sectors. And I believe that this forum comes at a meaningful moment, offering a platform to expand trade, encourage investment, and build stronger connections between our two nations. Your Excellency, once again, I welcome you to Jordan. I look forward to a productive discussion, and I'm sure this will pave a way for a brighter relationship between our two nations and shared progress. Wonderful to have you back here in Jordan, sir.
Your Majesty, मेरे और मेरे डेलीगेशन के गर्मजोशी भरे स्वागत के लिए मैं 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों की तरफ से आपका हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। आपने भारत और जॉर्डन के संबंधों को नए पायदान पर ले जाने के लिए बहुत ही सकारात्मक विचार रखे। मैं आपकी मित्रता और भारत के प्रति आपकी गहरी प्रतिबद्धता के लिए हृदय से आपका धन्यवाद करता हूं। इस वर्ष हम अपने राजनयिक संबंधों की 75वीं एनिवर्सरी मना रहे हैं। यह मील का पत्थर हमें आने वाले कई वर्षों तक नई ऊर्जा के साथ आगे बढ़ने के लिए प्रेरित करता रहेगा। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आज की बैठक से हमारे संबंधों में गति और गहराई एक नया रूप धारण करेगी। हम ट्रेड, फर्टिलाइजर्स, डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी, इंफ्रा और पीपल टू पीपल टाइज जैसे क्षेत्रों में सहयोग आगे बढ़ाएंगे। योर मैजेस्टी, वैश्विक स्तर पर भी हम करीबी संपर्क में रहे हैं। गाजा पर शुरुआत से ही आपकी बहुत सक्रिय और सकारात्मक भूमिका रही है। हम सभी की आशा है कि क्षेत्र में शांति और स्थिरता बनी रहे। आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध हमारा साझा और स्पष्ट रुख है। आपके नेतृत्व में जॉर्डन ने आतंकवाद, उग्रवाद और रेडिकलाइजेशन के खिलाफ पूरी मानवता को एक सशक्त और रणनीतिक संदेश दिए हैं। रिस्ट्रिक्टेड बैठक के दौरान हमने इस महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र में सहयोग को और मजबूती देने पर चर्चा की। 2018 में आपकी भारत यात्रा के समय हमने इस्लामिक हेरिटेज पर एक कॉन्फ्रेंस में भाग लिया था। मुझे याद है कि हमारी पहली मुलाकात भी 2015 में यूएन के साइडलाइन पर वायलेंट एक्सट्रीमिज्म को काउंटर करने पर केंद्रित एक इवेंट पर हुई थी। आपने तब भी इस विषय पर इंस्पिरेशनल रिमार्क दिए थे। मॉडरेशन को बढ़ावा देने के लिए आपके प्रयास क्षेत्रीय ही नहीं बल्कि वैश्विक शांति के लिए भी अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण है। हम इस दिशा में मिलकर ठोस रूप से आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे। हम आपसी सहयोग के अन्य सभी आयामों को और सशक्त बनाएंगे। एक बार फिर आपके आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए मैं आपका और जॉर्डन के लोगों का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
All Jordanians, we welcome you back to Jordan. Your presence here carries deep significance, as you mentioned earlier on, because our countries will mark 75 years of diplomatic relations. And I believe that this visit reflects decades of friendship, mutual respect, and productive cooperation between our two nations. Our nations enjoy a strong partnership and a shared desire to advance prosperity for our peoples. And over the years, our collaboration has expanded across multiple sectors. Your visit today provides an important opportunity to chart new paths of economic cooperation across industry, ICT, pharmaceuticals, agriculture.
Well, those were the opening statements being made by the two principals, the King of Jordan, King Abdullah II, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the delegation level talks that were taking place in Amman a short while ago. And in fact, the Prime Minister had thanked Jordan for the rousing welcome that he received, and he and his delegation, and the very positive agenda that has been set for the talks. They he talked about the 75 years of diplomatic ties and how new energy has come to the ties, and this is going to lead to greater closeness and also speed in engagement in fields like trade, energy, infrastructure, people-to-people ties. He also said that Jordan has sent out a very strong message to the world regarding de-radicalization and has helped in cooperation in counter-terrorism. And the Prime Minister also was talking about various associations that he has had with the Jordanian king in the past, especially at earlier meetings where they had met on Islamic Heritage Conference and on the sidelines of that. But we'll get you more on the outcomes of this delegation level talks in a short while. But let's continue with our news. And earlier, in fact, DD India's correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya had spoken to the vibrant Indian community in Jordan. They were excited to meet Prime Minister, and they said that it was once in a lifetime moment to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Jordan, and it was absolutely amazing for the Indian diaspora. Gave him a thunderous applause and a thunderous welcome here in the hotel. I have with me some of the members of the Indian diaspora. Let's find out what they felt when they saw Prime Minister Modi.
I participated in Bharat Ko Janiye quiz, and he motivated me to motivate others like me who can be Jordanian or other countries.
It was a once in a lifetime experience for us, and then it was a dream just to shake.
हमारा जन्मदिन हो गया.
It is life moment.
It's live moment.
He is the pride of our nation.
Historic moment.
Once in a yes, definitely.
સપનું સાચું થઈ ગયું. સપનું સાચું થઈ ગયું. It's amazing. Memorable moment. We are very happy and memorable moment.
Perfect day to be here.
मोदी है तो मुमकिन है.
जय हिंद जय भारत.
You were performing what, Kathak? Bharatanatyam. How was feeling? I was feeling, performing in front of Prime Minister Modi.
Quite exciting. I was very nervous, but he was, he was very kind to just stand and watch my performance, the whole performance, and he did, he took a photo with us, and it was so, it was overwhelming for me, and this moment I'll cherish in my life forever.
What about you? You were also performing.
Yes, I was performing Kathak.
In fact, let's go once again to Amman and listen to the Prime Minister's
गर्मजोशी भरे स्वागत के लिए मैं 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों की तरफ से आपका हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। आपने भारत और जॉर्डन के संबंधों को नए पायदान पर ले जाने के लिए बहुत ही सकारात्मक विचार रखे। मैं आपकी मित्रता और भारत के प्रति आपकी गहरी प्रतिबद्धता के लिए हृदय से आपका धन्यवाद करता हूं। इस वर्ष हम अपने राजनयिक संबंधों की 75वीं एनिवर्सरी मना रहे हैं। यह मील का पत्थर हमें आने वाले कई वर्षों तक नई ऊर्जा के साथ आगे बढ़ने के लिए प्रेरित करता रहेगा। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आज की बैठक से हमारे संबंधों में गति और गहराई एक नया रूप धारण करेगी। हम ट्रेड, फर्टिलाइजर्स, डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी, इंफ्रा और पीपल टू पीपल टाइज जैसे क्षेत्रों में सहयोग आगे बढ़ाएंगे। योर मैजेस्टी, वैश्विक स्तर पर भी हम करीबी संपर्क में रहे हैं। गाजा पर शुरुआत से ही आपकी बहुत सक्रिय और सकारात्मक भूमिका रही है। हम सभी की आशा है कि क्षेत्र में शांति और स्थिरता बनी रहे। आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध हमारा साझा और स्पष्ट रुख है। आपके नेतृत्व में जॉर्डन ने आतंकवाद, उग्रवाद और रेडिकलाइजेशन के खिलाफ पूरी मानवता को एक सशक्त और रणनीतिक संदेश दिए हैं। रिस्ट्रिक्टेड बैठक के दौरान हमने इस महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र में सहयोग को और मजबूती देने पर चर्चा की। 2018 में आपकी भारत यात्रा के समय हमने इस्लामिक हेरिटेज पर एक कॉन्फ्रेंस में भाग लिया था। मुझे याद है कि हमारी पहली मुलाकात भी 2015 में यूएन के साइडलाइन पर वायलेंट एक्सट्रीमिज्म को काउंटर करने पर केंद्रित एक इवेंट पर हुई थी। आपने तब भी इस विषय पर इंस्पिरेशनल रिमार्क दिए थे। मॉडरेशन को बढ़ावा देने के लिए आपके प्रयास क्षेत्रीय ही नहीं बल्कि वैश्विक शांति के लिए भी अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण है। हम इस दिशा में मिलकर ठोस रूप से आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे। हम आपसी सहयोग के अन्य सभी आयामों को और सशक्त बनाएंगे। एक बार फिर आपके आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए मैं आपका और जॉर्डन के लोगों का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
So we played out for you once again Prime Minister Narendra Modi's opening remarks at the delegation level talks with the King of Jordan, King Abdullah II. And let's now join our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya. He's joining us live from Amman. Tapas, we've just heard the Prime Minister's opening remarks. He spoke about trade, fertilizers, digital tech, infra, people-to-people ties. Put this portion of the Prime Minister's comments into context.
The temperature outside is quite cold, but the warmth that both the leaders showed is remarkable. In fact, it won't be wrong to say that they have probably started a new chapter when it comes to the friendship between the two countries. As I mentioned earlier also that when the Pahalgam terror attack took place, Jordan was one of the first countries who condemned the attack. And it showed when Prime Minister himself, when he was speaking, he mentioned the fact that, Jordan is a voice of moderation in the West Asia. And the kind of a conflict that we have seen earlier, they play a pivotal role in bringing in all the parties, all the stakeholders at one point and be the moderator. And that's something that King Abdullah II believe he should do. And another point that he mentioned, the Prime Minister Modi mentioned that the relationship between both the countries can be taken up in many ways. Counter-terrorism, he mentioned how in the West Asia, Jordan is playing a pivotal role in counter-terrorism. Then both countries can work towards, as I mentioned earlier, in different arenas, especially digital public infrastructure, trade, then keep people-to-people contact. All these areas Prime Minister Modi spoke about, and it is for benefit of all the stakeholders. It's benefit of both countries that they go in the 21st century as equal partners, help both the countries become developed. King Abdullah II wants to push revive the economy, push the economy further. And what better way than joining hands with India, the largest, one of the largest growing economy in the world, and soon to be the third largest economy in the world. So there is no doubt that the bonhomie that both the countries showed, both the leaders showed, will translate into massive trade as well as other areas of mutual benefit for both countries.
Indeed, and coming to the point that you've already raised about the Prime Minister speaking about, in his restricted conversation also they spoke at length about the issue of terrorism and the strong message that comes out from Jordan, which is of de-radicalization and moderation, as you were saying. But the Prime Minister was talking also in the context of peace in the region. And this is a crucial message for peace in the region coming out of Jordan. So, I mean, we put it into the regional context as well as the global context, because this is a major flashpoint area of conflict in the world. And, the Prime Minister sees Jordan actually as a peacemaker.
Right. In fact, Mark, you have to understand that in India also played a moderated role in the whole conflict, and not just recently, but all throughout the history of West Asia. The Gaza issue that we have seen earlier, the West Bank problem that we have seen. India has always been, being able to manage both sides. In fact, they've been India has been the voice of the moderation for both countries, for both Palestine, for Israel. They are, and that's something that they expect the same thing from Jordan also, because of its critical location. We went to Dead Sea, and if you throw a stone, you will reach it will reach Israel. So that's the kind of reach that Jordan has. It's very close to Israel. It's close to Palestine. It's close to Iraq. It's close to Iran, Saudi Arabia. So its position is pivotal. Its position is very important for any sort of a peace deal that needs to be that will be thrashed out in the near future. But both India and Jordan are the voice of moderation, the voice that the world needs to listen to, the voice that the world needs to take into account when the peace deal on the West Bank and the Gaza will come into effect. Till then, they are not heard. They are not been put in practice. No such deal will be long-term or worthwhile in the future. So it is imperative that when the deal comes through, the point of view of both the leaders of both the countries should be taken into account. Mark.
Okay, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much, Tapas Bhattacharya, for joining us from Amman with the latest. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. Doctors in England are to strike after they reject government's offer. Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
Exactly what to save your country.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Now, intense diplomatic efforts are underway in Berlin as the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has met US envoys and also European leaders to hammer out a possible peace plan with Russia, while Kiev signals a major policy shift on NATO membership. It continues to resist pressure to cede territory. Rahul Upadhyay has the report.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, US envoy Steve Witkoff, and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner reviewed a draft peace in Berlin. A core sticking point remains control of the eastern Donetsk region, where Russian forces hold much of their territory, and Moscow insists such territorial control should be formalized in any settlement. Kiev has firmly rejected any proposal that would force it to cede the territory under Russian control, and has strongly opposed any move to withdraw Ukrainian troops from areas still under its control. In a significant policy shift, Ukraine signaled its willingness to abandon its long-held goal of joining the NATO military alliance in exchange for legally binding Western security guarantees, a move framed as compromise by the Ukrainian leadership. Kyiv wants assurances similar to NATO's Article 5 protection from aggression by Russia, but not formal alliance membership. It has urged Western partners, including the United States, European Union, and allies such as Canada and Japan, to back these guarantees. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said on Monday that taking over the Donbas region will not be Putin's endgame.
We have to understand that Donbas is not Putin's endgame. If it gets Donbas, then the fortress is down, and then they definitely move on with taking the whole of Ukraine. And if Ukraine goes, then other regions are also in danger. We know this from the history, and we should learn from history.
Meanwhile, hectic diplomatic parleys continue across Europe, including the new EU sanctions targeting elements of Russia's oil shadow fleet and financial measures tied to frozen Russian assets. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte are holding meetings in Berlin. President Zelensky also held closed-door talks with German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier and met the head of the German parliament. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
The British Health Secretary Wes Streeting has urged doctors to reschedule a planned 5-day strike as hospitals across the UK struggle with a sharp rise in flu cases. His appeal comes after the British Medical Association, or the BMA, said that the walkout would go ahead from Wednesday. The Doctors' Union, representing resident doctors who make up nearly half of the medical workforce in Britain, said that members rejected the government's latest offer to pay, and also this is on pay and their working conditions. So the BMA, the chair there, Jack Fletcher, has said that the proposal was inadequate, though he also said that the union remained open to talks. The strike is expected to further strain the NHS amid a severe flu surge, as we said, with hospitalizations in England up more than 50% in early December. The Health Secretary, as we said earlier, Wes Streeting, has warned that action could be taken, and this action could risk patient safety, and also urge doctors to delay their strike. Shifting focus to the Asia-Pacific, Australia is reeling from its deadliest mass shooting in nearly 3 decades. A targeted attack on a Jewish festival in Sydney's Bondi Beach has left 15 people dead, shocking the nation and drawing global condemnation. As the probe is underway, tributes are pouring in for the victims, and also calls are growing louder for tougher gun laws. Here's the report.
Mourners in Sydney gathered throwing memorial of flowers and candles on Monday, a day after a deadly shooting at a Jewish festival in Bondi Beach. The attack, Australia's worst mass shooting in almost 30 years, claimed 15 lives.
It's caused a lot of destruction, and I think there are a lot of many people, many families who are going to be impacted for a long time.
Global leaders condemned the violence. Pope Leo XIV offered prayers for the victims and called for an end to anti-Semitic attacks.
Let us pray for all those who suffer because of war and violence. In particular today, I wish to entrust to the Lord the victims of terrorist massacre carried out yesterday in Sydney against the Jewish community. Enough with these forms of anti-Semitic violence. We must eliminate hatred from our hearts.
Basta con queste forme di violenza.
The Australian government has proposed tougher gun laws as pressure mounts to prevent such violence in future.
And I want to conclude finally by saying that the government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws.
Earlier, New South Wales Premier vowed that the Bondi Beach attack would be met with an overwhelming government, community and police response.
This is a shocking
shocking act of violence, as we've said, and it needs to be met with an overwhelming government, community and police response.
Amid the horror, stories of courage also emerged. Sydney siders are hailing Ahmed Al-Ahmed as a national hero after he wrestled a gun from one of the alleged attackers.
Yeah, I think he's a national hero for sure. Probably an international hero. A lot of people around the world wouldn't have done that. A lot of people would have ran away from the gunfire. He ran towards it, so fair play to him. Probably saved a lot of lives.
As Sydney mourns, the attack has reignited a national debate on gun control and hate-driven violence. Authorities say investigations are continuing even as a grieving nation searches for answers and healing after a tragedy that has left an indelible scar on Australia's history. Bureau Report, DD India.
A Hong Kong court on Monday convicted the pro-democracy media tycoon Jimmy Lai under the national security law, a verdict that could see the 78-year-old jailed for life. A ruling has sparked criticism, with Britain calling the case politically motivated and also demanding Lai's immediate release. Lai's son Sebastian also has urged the UK to take stronger action, and he links his father's freedom to future ties with China. Also, the rights groups and activists, they've been saying that the verdict highlights the erosion of press freedom and judicial independence in Hong Kong. Nishchoy Roy has the report.
From tanks in Tiananmen Square to Hong Kong's courtrooms, China's relationship with democracy has followed a familiar rhythm. Dissent may change its form, but it will not be tolerated. On Monday, a Hong Kong court delivered a guilty verdict against pro-democracy media tycoon Jimmy Lai, turning the language of law into yet another instrument of control. The High Court convicted the 70-year-old of colluding with foreign forces, a charge that could see him jailed for life. The case has drawn global attention, highlighting Beijing's continued crackdown after the 2019 pro-democracy protests. Britain has condemned the verdict as politically motivated, calling it unjust and demanding Lai's immediate release. Jimmy Lai's son Sebastian urged the UK to take tougher steps, linking his father's release to future ties with China.
The reason why I'm here is to free my father, and in order to do that, the UK government has to do more. We've been very grateful of this report. You would have seen the statement from our Foreign Minister, Vet Cooper. But now it's time to put action behind words and make my father's release a precondition to closer relationships with China.
Sebastian Lai said the past 5 years show a complete breakdown of Hong Kong's legal system under China's central authority.
What we've seen today and actually over the past five years is a complete breakdown of the Hong Kong legal system. And I think with that, a trust in the Hong Kong legal system and with that, a trust in Hong Kong as a financial center. Again, I can't speak on whether he would appeal or not, but I think it would be appealing in a system that is essentially broken and with a full deck of cards stacked against them.
Exiled activist Carmen Lau said the ruling reflects the harsh reality facing Hong Kong's opposition.
I don't really see Jimmy Lai's case as a tragedy of a single man, but it is a reflection of a, wider and, more brutal reality that, thousands of Hong Kongers are now under. We have almost 2,000 political prisoners in Hong Kong.
Amnesty International has called the conviction a blow to press freedom, warning that journalism is being criminalized. Taiwan said the verdict shows Hong Kong's freedom and judicial independence have been systematically eroded. As supporters continue to hail Lai as a freedom fighter, a pre-sentencing hearing is set for January 12. Nishchoy Roy's report for DD India.
Well, still to come here on DD India Newshour. As Prime Minister Modi is in Jordan, we are going to be discussing with guests how this visit will boost the bilateral relationship between the two countries. And we bring you updates from the ongoing winter session of India's Parliament as well. Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India. Well, you're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Mark Lynn, and we're joined by Ambassador S.R. Tayal, former senior diplomat, and also Burzin Wagmar. He's a West Asia expert from the School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London. He's joining us from London. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with us. Ambassador Tayal, let me start with you. The Prime Minister, in his opening remarks, he talked a lot about how Jordan really has a very moderate approach to Islam, and also he talked about the strong message that Jordan has sent out in terms of de-radicalization and moderation in the region, almost speaking like this region needs a lot of peace, and Jordan is going to play a significant role in that. Am I reading that statement correctly?
Very much so. In the politics of West Asia, Jordan has had a very special role, particularly under King Abdullah II. First, he's a direct descendant of the Prophet, so he has a certain resonance among the masses. Then, as King of Jordan, they have a special responsibility as custodian of all the holy places in Jerusalem. That includes Al-Aqsa Mosque as well as Temple of the Holy Mount, etc. And for almost 2-3 decades, Jordan has tried to play the role of a moderate, of a bridge between the Arab countries and the West, particularly the United States. We all recall that after Egypt's reconciliation with Israel, the second Arab country to follow was 1994 was Jordan.
Right.
Our Prime Minister always says that the dialogue and diplomacy is the only way to resolve difficult problems, difficult issues, historical issues. Jordan has shown that way, and now, of course, Abraham Accord and other Arab countries are also joining that, UAE, etc. Then, as far as moderate Islam is concerned, Jordan itself is an example, and we all recall in 2018 when King Abdullah had visited India, there was a congregation of almost 1,500 Indian ulemas and ummah, where there was a discussion on tolerance and moderation in Islam. So a very strong message was given from the soil of India with the presence and blessings and support of King Abdullah II, that the way forward is for Islam and all the other religions to be moderate, to be tolerant, and to be progressive and modern.
Indeed. Mr. Wagmar, comment on this subject as well, with Jordan being the custodian of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and other, religious sites in Israel. How does India's engagement with Amman affect also, India's standing with the wider Muslim world, given, as Ambassador Tayal was saying, the direct descendant that King Abdullah is of the Prophet Muhammad?
Well, the Hashemites, as the ambassador pointed out, have considerable cachet since the Transjordan period and independence from the late 40s onwards. And it was under King Hussein that diplomatic overtures were made. And in 1994, he visited Israel, and diplomatic relations were established following President Sadat and Egypt under President Carter in 1979. Jordan is the cockpit of the Middle East. Please remember that during the current war between airstrikes between Israel and Iran, it was Jordan which also assisted in capturing those ballistic projectiles from actually landing on Israeli soil. Some did, but Jordan played a pivotal role in that. And it just goes to show that Jordan does not see eye to eye with such radical elements in the Middle East who wish to stir up trouble, such as Iran or the Houthis, for example. Right. And Jordan has profound security linkages with both London and Washington on that count. It also shows in their own relationship, Mark, in that Jordan has a free trade agreement with the US since 2001. And incidentally, this is where India comes in. Jordan has a free trade economic zone out of which several Indian companies operate locally and also export to the US and elsewhere. Right. And that ties in with the fact of India being Jordan's fourth largest trading partner. Jordan is particularly known for phosphates and phosphoric acid as a mainstay export. Yes. It is not rich in hydrocarbons like the other Middle Eastern countries, but on this count, Jordan is. And India took a step about 2 decades ago to set up a dedicated facility for export of phosphoric acid exclusively to India, because it meets so many needs, from fertilizers to steel, and now even to lithium-ion batteries and EV. And I must point out that this visit of the Prime Minister after 37 years is opportune, given that we have had 2 state visits, King Abdullah II in 2018 and the late King Hussein in October 1986 to New Delhi too. Right. And it was on King Hussein's watch, Mark, we must remember, that the largest evacuation in Indian and 20th century history took place when 1.7 million Indians from Gulf were evacuated on Amman-Bombay air bridge flights operated by Air India and Indian Airlines, 488 flights over 59 days, airlifting those Indians. And India does maintain and remember that this happened on Jordanian soil and through the good offices of Amman as such, which saved 1.7 million Indians between August and October 1990, well before war commenced in January 1991.
Important lessons.
I felt I must point out as a historian.
Important lessons of history. Thank you very much. But Ambassador Thayal, Prime Minister also spoke about, new energy being brought to this relationship. It's almost like a new chapter is beginning. He talked about trade, fertilizers, digital technology, infrastructure, people-to-people ties. If you can dwell a little bit, I mean, we know that fertilizers is important. We have been taking potash and phosphates from Jordan for a long time. India is reliant on it. But in terms of digital tech, infra, India has a lot to offer, isn't it?
Yes, India has established the information technology center in Jordan, and the objective is to train almost 5,000 Jordanian experts as IT, on IT, different aspects of IT. And now as we move forward, as West Asia moves forward, Jordan, India move forward, the future is in IT, in AI, and cloud computing, and all of that. So there, India has something to offer, and certainly this partnership with Jordan would be of great help. And yes, more energy is being injected into this very civilizational relationship. And this mention was of the air bridge, when almost 1 million Indians had to be rescued from Iraq. So all that there's a lot of fund of goodwill. And another mention which was made by the co-panelists, that the free trade agreements of which Jordan is already a member. Now that India is embarking on its own FTAs, etc., it would be very useful to have a BTA or FTA with Jordan, and our companies can operate from there and have access to the US market, as was mentioned. Already there are some apparel companies, some ready-made garment making companies of India in the free trade zone of Jordan. So that will be another way where very rapidly there can be expansion. Of course, phosphates and fertilizers, they are very vital for India's own agriculture. We have invested in a fertilizer phosphoric acid company in Jordan, and more exports will be from there. So the bilateral dimension of our relationship will get a boost in economic sector. I believe the ITech scholarships, which were about 35 per year to Jordanian professionals, they are also being increased to 50 scholarships per year. There are about, I think, 5,000 Jordanian students in India studying and or have gone back. So that is another bridge between India and Jordan. So there are multiple ways in which our relationship is flourishing, and with Prime Minister's visit, it will certainly get a boost, both in bilateral dimension and, of course, in our understanding of West Asia through the Jordanian eyes.
Mr. Wagmar, comment on that bit about West Asia, because I mean, how does this relationship with Jordan complement our relationship, India's relationship, that is, with you know, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and other countries in the region?
Well, the relationship with the UAE is right at the very top, as you can imagine, in profound linkages, and not just economically, Mark. It's moved also into the defense and atomic energy sector too, with India now servicing the civilian reactors that have been installed with South Korean construction in the UAE. But that's another question. The Saudi factor is also important with defense, security, and intelligence. And also, the ambassador will recollect that Mr. Doval has had visits also to Amman in the last 5 years. And defense and intelligence relationships, particularly security and intelligence, are profound on an intimate level between New Delhi and Amman, and have been so for quite some time. And I may also, again, come in as a historian, if you'd permit me, Mark, in the late 1990s, Amman was the venue also for intelligence discussions between both intelligence chiefs of India and Pakistan, okayed, of course, at the highest official level, but to have, not encumbered with diplomatic protocol, but to have frank, forthright talks. And those talks did take place in Amman between both intel chiefs. So Jordan was willing to provide a quiet atmosphere and for both parties antagonists to repose confidence. So there is considerable goodwill on the part of Jordan in India on that count to be seen as well. And insofar as the Indo-Jordan Center for AI Technology at Al Hussein University campus, Amman, is mentioned, please note that therein is also housed India's Param supercomputer. I believe there are very few in the Middle East, and Amman is one such venue where it is installed because India has exported to it. Others have been exported elsewhere in the world, but the Param has been exported to Jordan, which is an exception in the Middle Eastern context of things.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Ambassador S.R. Tayal, a former senior diplomat, and Burzeen Wagmar, a West Asian expert from SOAS University, London. Thanks for helping us understand this by unpacking the story for us. Now, moving on to more stories, in fact, more international news. Tensions continue to escalate in Southeast Asia as Cambodia accused Thailand of deep air strikes near Angkor Temple complex, and this in fact comes as Bangkok announced that it will halt fuel shipments via Laos, fearing that these supplies might be diverted to the Cambodian forces. Here's our report from Rupak Kumar Jha.
Cambodia has accused Thailand of carrying out its deepest strike yet in the renewed border conflict, alleging Thai fighter jets bombed areas of Siem Reap province, home to the centuries-old Angkor Temple complex. Cambodian officials said the attack forced already displaced families to flee evacuation sites as fighting intensified for a second week. Cambodia's defense ministry said a Thai aircraft struck near a camp for displaced civilians more than 70 kilometers from the border. Cambodian government spokesperson Pen Bona termed it a territory invasion war, highlighting that civilians and infrastructure were being targeted.
It is a territory invasion war. The Thai military has targeted civilian objects indiscriminately, harming many of our civilians and destroying a lot of civilian infrastructure.
Meanwhile, Thailand has said that it had halted fuel shipments through a key border crossing with Laos after intelligence suggested supplies were being diverted to Cambodian forces. Bangkok has also warned it may restrict Thai vessels from entering high-risk Cambodian waters. The conflict has killed at least 31 people and displaced around 800,000 on both sides. Each side continues to blame the other for instigating the violence, while international calls for restraint have so far failed to halt the fighting. Rupak Kumar Jha's report for DD India.
The American actor and director and also political activist Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer Reiner, they were found dead at their Los Angeles home this happened in Los Angeles on Sunday. So the police, they are investigating this case as a homicide, as an apparent homicide. The 78-year-old had risen to fame as the co-star in the 1970s CBS sitcom All in the Family. He later directed acclaimed films, including This Is Spinal Tap, When Harry Met Sally as well, Stand By Me, and The American President. Fans and colleagues expressed shock and grief at this news. The deaths were confirmed by the Los Angeles' Mayor Karen Bass, as well as Californian Governor Gavin Newsom. The police have not publicly identified the two individuals, but the Los Angeles Police Department said that responding officers had found two bodies inside the residence. Reiner's son Nick has been arrested on a homicide charge, according to an official with the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department.
This afternoon, Los Angeles police officers, along with the Los Angeles City Fire Department, responded to the 200 block of Chadbourne Avenue here in the city of Brentwood. Upon arrival, they determined that there were two deceased individuals inside of the residence. The Los Angeles Police Department is now conducting an investigation at this residence here on Chadbourne, and that investigation will continue over the coming days. At this time, the Los Angeles Police Department is not seeking anyone as a suspect or as a person of interest or in any other manner, and we will not be doing that until we conduct our investigation and we move forward.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on an official visit to the United Arab Emirates, held a high-level meeting in Abu Dhabi. This is aimed at strengthening bilateral relations between India and the UAE. Dr. Jaishankar called on the Vice President Al Nahyan, where the two leaders discussed ways to deepen cooperation in the fields of economy and defense. The minister also met Khaldoon Khalifa Al Mubarak, the managing director and group CEO of Mubadala Investment Company. And during this interaction, Dr. Jaishankar and Al Mubarak, they exchanged views on the global geo-economic situation, and they emphasized the importance of further strengthening India-UAE ties. News about what's happening in the Indian Parliament today. Well, debates on the electoral reforms, they continued in the Rajya Sabha, that's the upper house, and several speakers cutting across party lines have already expressed their opinions on the subject. And in the lower house, that's the Lok Sabha, the House continues with a discussion on the demands for supplementary grants from the Consolidated Fund of India. The Lok Sabha had earlier in the day introduced the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill 2025. The Viksit Bharat Shiksha Adhisthan Bill 2025 and the Repealing and Amending Bill 2025. Let's get to the sports news now. And the Lionel Messi, greatest of all time, India Tour 2025 lit up Delhi with a spectacular football celebration at the Arun Jaitley Stadium. And Lionel Messi, accompanied by Luis Suarez as well as Rodrigo de Paul, they spent some time with the Minerva Academy youngsters. They interacted with them, posing for photographs and taking part in a brief rondo session. Messi also met the ICC chairman, Jai Shah, the Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta and the DDCA President Rohan Jaitley.
The final leg of the Lionel Messi GOAT India Tour 2025 concluded in grand style at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in New Delhi. An exhibition match between Minerva Messi All-Stars and Celebrity Messi All-Stars set the tone for the Delhi leg. The friendly contest was played in front of a packed and buzzing crowd. Fans witnessed a lively game filled with entertainment and footballing flair. A penalty shootout session added more excitement and kept the spectators on their feet. Lionel Messi later spent quality time with youngsters from the Minerva Academy. He interacted with the budding footballers and posed for photographs with them. Messi also joined the young players for a brief rondo session on the pitch, creating unforgettable moments. The football icon also met ICC Chairman Jai Shah, Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta, and DDCA President Rohan Jaitley. Jai Shah presented Indian cricket team jerseys to the guests as a symbol of sporting unity. Messi was gifted a specially autographed cricket bat, blending footballing greatness with India's cricketing legacy. Adding to the moment, Jai Shah invited Messi to the upcoming T20 World Cup and presented him with a ticket. The Delhi leg of the tour celebrated not just Messi's greatness, but also the growing bond between the sport, youth, and inspiration in India.
And with that, Lionel Messi's GOAT Tour to India 2025 draws to a close. From Kolkata to Hyderabad and from Mumbai and finally the capital, the visit has ignited passion, belief and ambition among football fans and young players alike. The event is over, but the inspiration Messi leaves behind is set to shape countless dreams across India. Narayan Singh for DD India, New Delhi.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Newshour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lin. From all of us here in Delhi, thank you very much for watching DD India Newshour. Namaskar.